Warning: the Chaotic Culture Podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Embrace the culture, blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off for O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, the pod where chaos rules and Black culture is elevated. This podcast will once again deep dive into modern Black culture and how millennials and Gen Z can navigate the crazy parts: finances, music, Black business highlights, homeownership, college, sports, Black nerdom, all that and everything in between. If you joined us for our last episode, which was season 3, episode 2, which was the ranking the Nas discography, I definitely appreciate the listens here. We're definitely going to do that again, this time with Usher. That will be an interesting episode because I have some thoughts on his discography, but that's neither here nor there right now. I actually have a guest once again this week, but before we do that, we just want to be sure that we thank you guys for your participation in listening to the episodes, as well as for those who are our anchor sponsors. We thank you very much. For those of you who wish to sponsor this podcast, please be sure that you go to patreon.com/chaotic culture pod, and you could join at any of the 4 levels, which I will repeat again at the end of this episode. As always, I am the host of the Chaotic Culture Podcast, your boy Ked the Pro, aka the Calculator Millennial, aka the Cutlass Diamond, aka don't be pushing on my buttons in my cutlass unless you cutting. Goodness, I'm already fucking up. Aka Panda's favorite toxic adjacent king. That's the reason I said that. AKA your favorite denizen of the Shadow Realm here. The 843 is me, but doing it live from the 75 in Newport News. As always chaotic, never toxic in most cases. Joining me today, and there's a reason why I said that, is of course one of my favorite guests. If you had tuned in to season 2 last year, you would have known that she came on 2 episodes of mine and definitely made an impact on this show. Everyone, please give a warm welcome once again to Panda the Don. Go ahead and introduce yourself, madam.
What's up, you guys? What's up, you guys? This is your girl Panda the Don from Worst Generation Podcast. Happy to be back. Okay, this is my 3rd time, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Number 3, even though I'm a deuce, but shout out to my Trey, whatever.
I'm a deuce as well, so but I'm a 3 in the drum line, so there's that too. So both numbers are good for me.
Okay, fuck with it.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, Panda, go ahead and give your usual introduction. We always got to start off with that. If you could pull it off.
Oh, of course. If I can pull it off. Okay. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Panda Don, better known as the OG Panda, better known as Football Panda, better known as Panda with the Hammer, better known as the Haikyuu ambassador, and repping my set. Got the Haikyuu shirt on.
Yeah, she got the Haikyuu shirt on. Let's go.
Better known as the wholesome Panda. The oh so wholesome Panda. Namaste.
Look, okay, guys. So just for clarification purposes, I will say that Panda, when she's not on one, is very, very wholesome. But there's a side of Panda that I've actually gotten to appreciate. Let's just say that. We got of course. You said Panda the Don, Panda with the hammer. I'm trying to think of your other nicknames. Freaky Panda.
Freaky. I don't know what you're talking about. I am a wholesome child of God. I don't participate in those things. No, sir.
I'll let you slide on that one, I guess. But hey, look, and Panda with the hammer is really that, because look, when she goes the fuck off, she goes off. I just have to make sure that I warn everybody. Please just don't, when we talk about subjects, and we're kind of going to get into that into the actual topic of the day, but when it just comes to people in general, when they get on her nerves, or when they do something that is just overly not so wholesome in our eyes, or could be detrimental to the Black community especially, Panda will go the fuck off. So, and once again, Mom, I apologize. I'm saying all these F-bombs. It is what it is. If you listen to this episode, I'm sorry, but but anyway, yes ma'am, let's go ahead and do a wellness check. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been just chilling this weekend, recovering, well, not recovering, but kind of relaxing from my first week on my, like, in my actual job or my offices and stuff. But overall, I'm good. I'm just sleepy, but that's because I took a nap earlier and I went to bed late for whatever reason, but that's my fault for reading fan fictions that late. But everything, I've been good though. I've been really good. Everything's just been, just an adjustment. I'll say that.
Okay. The last time that you were on this pod, of course, you were getting ready to graduate, and now that we see that you have graduated again with another master's, so once again, congrats to Panda for achieving another goal. And see, she over here once again jigging and whatnot. So I just gotta, for those, I don't know if I'll be able to add the round of applause later on, but if I do, then yeah, for my soundboard. But yeah, congratulations to Panda once again.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. What are we done with the degrees, or are we aiming for one more?
Look, so I've decided I'm done for right now. If years down the road I feel like I want to go get a PhD, then cool. But as of now, I'm tired of school. I just need to work and get my life together. And to be honest, it's not looking so good for the PhD, but that's no big deal, because honestly, it's not as strong of a desire as it used to be, like when I first started my journey in grad school. So either way, I'm gonna be successful with or without it, so it doesn't really matter.
Hey, I understand that wholeheartedly, especially with the conversations that I've had with colleagues of mine who have gotten their PhD already. You know what? If you're okay with selling your soul, just be sure you sell it to the right program that you're going to be a part of, because it can really be life draining from what I've been told. So, by all means, take your time if you decide to do it. And if you don't, it's whatever. As we said, you have gotten to a level of success so far, and the world is your oyster at this point. So just go ahead and just get it at that. That's all that I can say. That's good to hear. My homecoming actually just passed. Saturday I was too fucking lit.
I was told that you don't drink.
Yeah, that was a lie. A bold-faced lie. The drum line, I actually made the sticky juice this weekend. And yeah, on Anime After Dark, the effects of Everclear. Full well the effects of Everclear.
Don't remind me. That story was... If I could go back in time, look, I'd make some different decisions. Like, that wasn't even the worst, like my worst moment when it comes to drinking. I've had worse moments, but when it comes like guy-wise, shit was fucking terrible. Actually, the other one was pretty terrible, but that one was the worst one, because like that never fucking, oh my Lord, if I go back in time, I made a lot of dumb decisions when I was younger.
Hey, we have all been there. We have all been there. Thankfully, I didn't make any dumb decisions, but I could tell after, not even on my second cup, I was like, yo, this is too swole. And I realized just how washed I was. I still drink, but I am washed, and I'm like, I'm not used to this. So yeah, I actually had to get somewhere and sit down for a little bit. and watch as the little sticky people, like what I like to call them, or my sticky youngins, they were having a ball. This matter of fact, last night, things didn't turn out because unfortunately, that's another story. Decisions were made on their part that I think could have been a little better. But I love them. I love them. I love them. And I think that's for everybody. I think the people that they invited to didn't really make the situation better because they just, you know how girls get when they're lit and then they see one of their girls that they hadn't seen in a minute, or one of their girls from class, and one of the girls that they are really, really cool with show up to a party and they get screaming. That little shriek when you open the door and you're that's kind of how that ended up being.
Hey, I'm not gonna hold you. That's probably gonna be me this weekend because Tougaloo's Founders Week is this week, and we have the alumni picnic on Saturday. So I'm going back and I get to see some like most of my line sisters this weekend. So it's I haven't seen them since 2020, like before the world got shut down and everything. So
yeah, but see, that's good because you'll be outside though. That's the only thing. We were inside, so I'm
you gotta chill out with all the yelling stuff.
Especially when you're in an apartment complex because folk around you don't have the same. Yeah, and again, this speaks to how washed I really am because I'm just like, dang, yo.
I mean, I think you're well. I feel that because, like, for me, when it comes to like partying and stuff, I'm not a fan of clubs. Even before the pandemic, I stopped being interested in clubs and stuff. And then, I don't like clubs. I prefer day parties because I like drinking early in the day and then chilling at night. And if I want to go party somewhere, I can. But if I had to go party, like it might be a bar or a kickback. But I prefer kickbacks to anything else and not those super packed, I can barely move type kickbacks. I'm talking about like we all vibing. We might be playing, drinking games and stuff, but it's not too many people. So it's just my interest when it comes to drink. And I also don't drink hard liquor as much. Like I'm very much become a wine person, like more often. So
hey, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I've realized that I've cut back on a lot of hard liquor, but that's again because I'm typically not in a college environment anymore. Most times I'm in a work environment, but when you get around folk that you haven't seen in a while, and even the younger college folk who look up to you and they want to party with you, and for whatever reason you just say okay, whatever. That's what the weekend pretty much held for me. I'm just like, dang, bro, like I could tell that I haven't had hard liquor in a minute, but I made it through the weekend. That's all that matters, and no shenanigans or no real shenanigans happened to where I've had embarrassing stories during homecoming. This wasn't one of them because this homecoming was kind of light, especially with COVID still going on, and so Hampton kind of like clamped down on homecoming festivities. So some of my colleagues still came down. We still had a good time, but it definitely felt different. It's just like, yeah, it's not what it used to be, but hopefully by next year it'll get back to normal if people act right.
People not gonna act right.
I know it.
Oh, Lord.
I know it, but I mean, one can hope and one can dream. But either way, I definitely realized just how potent I made that juice. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta chill. And after 2.5 cups, I'm like, all right, I can't take no more because I still have to drive. And now I live even further away from them than I used to, whereas it used to be like maybe anywhere between 2 minutes to 5 minutes, or maybe even 10 at the most. Now I'm 15 minutes away, and I'm just like, yep, I have to know my limits at this point. So, but they got nice and lit last night, and some of them were coming up to me. They were like, "Hey, this tastes like juice. You sure this liquor in?" And I'm like,
why would you ask somebody that? First of all, if it tastes like juice, that means you have to be real cautious. That's how I got fucked up off my homeboy juice from that story I told, because it tasted just like juice. You couldn't taste any liquor. He wouldn't tell me what was in it. He just told me they didn't have coconuts in it because I'm allergic to coconut, so that also translates into the liquor too. Okay. So like if it had like rum or something, I couldn't drink it, but he told me there was no coconut in it. And we know how that shit turned out for those of you who tuned in to Anime After Dark this past Wednesday.
Hosted by Blendman Podcast and Worst Generation Podcast. Be sure you check them out every Wednesday at 9:30 Central Standard Time, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, if you are, of course, on my side of the water. that story. It actually made me appreciate you a little more for other reasons. One, because trust me, I haven't been like blackout drunk since I was like maybe 19, but I understand because I've had incidents where I've done some embarrassing ish while I was drunk. The other reason, obviously, of course, because you did a certain redacted move to a certain redacted somebody, and that actually just like, okay. Well, dang, I didn't realize Panda got down like that. Okay, well, shoot, let me.
First of all, my tweets should tell. Well, sometimes when I get hacked, those tweets should tell you what's going on.
Hey, but see, you know what? I knew I with the hacked tweets, quote unquote. I had an idea, but I think with given that scenario, I was just like, maybe let me just go ahead and tell Panda like this is one of my triggers because this hasn't happened to me in a while, but there have been some women, the last girl I talked to, who have taken advantage of that. And for those who know, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But you could talk to Rob J. You could talk to Pat. We kind of share similar taste in women. So yeah. I perked up when I heard that, and then after you had your little incident, I was like, oh damn, Panda, damn.
Look, it really could have been worse though. Like I could have thrown up in front of the dude and fell into it, but that didn't happen. And like I just tried to look on the bright side because I had a hangover after this world the next day, and it was not fun. And honestly, I made some dumbass decisions off liquor. Like some really fucking stupid decisions, and I just be looking at my life like what is life? But like I wish I hadn't done that because like me and the dude were cool, but like we don't talk anymore. But things happen and don't happen for a reason, so it's okay. Like it doesn't really matter.
Hey, yeah, it is what it is. But you know, now I know I guess a twin version of you that exists in real time. You know, I see the tweets, but now when you actually hear the stories, you're like, okay.
Drunk Panda be getting me in a lot of shit. Okay. Like I be needing the bitch to calm the fuck down. But guess what she doesn't do? Doesn't do that. Like be sending messages to people she ain't got no business texting. It's just like we cut this off. Did we stop doing this shit? But I've gotten better. Also because I haven't been outside lately, so that's probably why I got that.
Okay, well.
But we'll see how this weekend comes because I know what I got my outfit picked out. I'm gonna be with my line sisters. I'm gonna be with my chapter and my brother chapter, and it's gonna be with I'm gonna see other old people from my from when I was still undergrad and stuff. So, we gonna see how life goes. Hopefully,
I hear you.
Goes well.
On that note, how was your birthday? I heard some things, like some good things anyway. I didn't hear any embarrassing stories from your birthday, so I just wanted to know how that turned out.
My birthday went well. It was actually pretty chill. I went to the coast for the day before my birthday because my birthday was on a Sunday, so I decided to do a lot more stuff on that Saturday. I went to the coast. I went out to eat. We went to this place where there was like a giant arcade. We rode go-karts and stuff. Then I went out to eat that evening. And then we just came back to my apartment drunk. And about when the clock hit 12, they told me happy birthday and whatever. And then I went to bed because I feel like I'm getting to a point where like it's fun to stay up, but like, yeah, I decided to just go to sleep. And the next morning we went to brunch and I chilled for the rest of the day. It was really fun, honestly. Okay. I wish I could have traveled, but like I didn't. Well, traveled outside of my state where I'm in, but I mean, I still have fun, and that's all that really matters, honestly.
Okay. Well, hey, either way, you know, I'm glad that you at least had a good time on your birthday. You know, that's what is most important, that you didn't have any incidents during your birthday, whether embarrassing or just bad in general. Everything went smooth. So,
look, one thing I refuse to be is pissed off on my birthday because everybody getting cussed out. Well, me when I'm mad, and me when I'm mad with liquor is
yeah.
Y'all don't want to meet that Panda. That's a anyway. Yeah, we don't have to have one of those moments.
I hear you. So next topic. Let's go into anime lately. Which anime have we been watching as of late?
Well, today I've watched my least favorite anime out of all the anime I've watched this year. I don't know if you watched Serial Experiments Lane, but
I haven't, but it is on my list to peep. It's. Are you telling me not to do it?
No, I'm not telling you not to. Here's the thing: even if I don't like an anime, I'm not gonna tell somebody not to do it because you can form your own opinion. That can end up being your favorite because I know that's how people feel about Haikyuu. Like they may not like Haikyuu, but I love Haikyuu.
Mhm.
So I will say this: my thoughts on the show is like it loses me at some moments. It's like sometimes it can be a bit confused, and the plot seems to be all over the place a little bit. Like the question, it's like it tries to be mysterious and edgy, but to a point where it just loses the story and the characters aren't really all that interesting. Even the MC is just boring. So I struggled to get through the rest of the show. Like I struggled. When I finished, I've never felt so happy in my life. Like I felt nauseated trying to finish it. That's how much I did not like it. But for those of you who are listening and are interested in it, I would say because it's spooky season, I know some people like it because it's like supposed to be like a horror. I would say watch it just to form your own opinion. Don't listen to me and just say, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it because Panda said she didn't like it," because you never know. Everything is subjective. So if that, I say watch it, and if you see what I'm talking about, definitely discuss it. If you liked it, tell me what you liked about it. We might agree to disagree, but I just say that just watch it. Do so if that's what you want to do. It's on Funimation. It's only 13 episodes.
Okay. So it's quick.
It's
I still have plans to check it out, but we'll see. We'll see. Usually I take your recommendations very strongly. I know that typically if you don't like something, chances are I'm probably not gonna like it. So I'll proceed with caution with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
I've started watching. Of course, I've been watching Fina Pirate Princess, which is beautiful animation. I love the characters.
Start that. I'm behind.
Definitely started. I think it's about to end in like 2 weeks. I want to say, but it's I love it. The characters are amazing. The animation is beautiful. I like the music. Like it's really up there for me right now. I also watched some new stuff. So I watched, of course, Restaurant to Another World season 2 has come out, which I'm excited about because I love food anime. I love feel good food anime, slice of life anime. So that's just up my alley. I started The World's Finest Assassin Gets Reincarnated into Another World.
That is also on my list.
I started that. It only has 1 episode, but I think it's updating in 2 days. So I watched that. I'm excited about this anime. I'm pretty interested to see how this goes. Platinum End. I watched for episode 1 today. Also excited about this one just to see how it goes.
Okay.
And I also started The Faraway Paladin. I'm not sure where this anime is gonna go specifically, but so far I'm intrigued enough to start watching it. And next on my list to watch is I have to watch Mirko-chan, and I'm gonna start Nichijou. I need a palate cleanser because like my Serial Experiments Lane left a bad taste in my mouth. So I've been watching like different stuff. Also, as far as what I'm reading, of course, JJK, My Hero Academia. I recently finished Blue Lock, caught up to Blue Lock.
Okay.
10, like it's, I'm a sports manga aficionado. So Blue Lock is about, I'm gonna call it soccer, but the rest of the world calls it football. Football, yeah. Yes. So it's about these soccer players in Japan, and 300 of them are gathered into this thing called Blue Lock. And the creator of Blue Lock basically is going to, shape them to be the best. I want to say forward. I forgot what position it is in Japan so Japan can win, the U2, because Japan has never won, I think, the World Series. I think that was called. Is it the World Series?
You talking about like the World Cup?
The World Cup. Yeah, the World Cup. World Series is baseball. The World Cup. So he's trying to he said out of 300 of them, only one is going to be able to become the best. And if you don't make it to the end, then you'll get kicked out of Blue Lock and you will never be able to play into any like team, like any type of big time team in Japan or like otherwise. So it's really good. I like the way it breaks down the skill set of the players and everything. And it's math, but it's like makes sense. Like the logic seems sound. And it's just like, it's not that, you depend on your team and y'all can work together and make stuff where he said, no, be selfish, go for the goal, basically. That's like in layman's terms, basically what the guy is trying to like get into their heads. But I would definitely recommend it. it's a heavy recommendation for me. I love Blue Lock, and this recent chapter and the chapter before that had me hyped. I really want to definitely keep like reading it and see where it goes. And also reading Sakamoto Days and Undead Unluck, Twin Star Exorcist. Of course, Solo Leveling, but that hasn't been updated in a minute. And of course, Tokyo Revengers.
Yeah. My heart.
I think my heart is still in denial slightly.
I am too. I'm just Tokyo Revengers knows how to really just make you fall in love with not only the main characters, but also make you fall in love with supporting characters that you may or may not, see for an extended period of time, and then afterwards just Wakui just tears your heart into pieces.
What is with everybody taking a page out of Isayama's book? Like, not everybody wants to lose their favorite character like on Attack on Titan. Let's not do this.
Yeah.
Not do this, please.
It's terrible. I was definitely getting Attack on Titan vibes just seeing. I was like, man, why'd you do that? Like, come on, bro. Baji was one thing, but and then you had at this point 2 redacted names that I'm not going to share right now. But just when that happened after Kisaki did his shit, I never wanted to throw my phone so much. Like, yo, okay. Nah, I really can't stand this.
My issue with Kisaki is not like he did some bad shit, and like I was like, okay, this man a villain, cool, probably because he wants to be a best elite or whatever. Then I found out the reason. I was just like,
yeah,
this is why you did this shit.
His reasoning is trash, absolute basura.
A fucking incel, if I ever heard one in my life. Like, never in my life. He wanted them, they're everywhere, especially on Twitter. There's a dude who has been punching his shit, and he wanted them dudes that hadn't be punching his shit because maybe if he did, he would learn to shut the fuck up and sit down. Mm-hmm. So that's beside the point. But of course, like Gigi and fucking Wakui have both been taking a page out of Isayama's book. I'm just like, for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Because Gigi already taken away redacted for me. I'm not over that, like, but that's
no, trust me, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one. This is like, dang, yo, that did not last long at all, and he already just saying, nope, I'm taking away redacted. And
I mean, I like, he's one of my favorite. He was one of my favorite characters. I enjoyed his character because he kind of was like the average everyday sorcerer, and he understood like this entire system is shit, work is shit, life is shit, and basically like
I know your heart was torn into pieces with that one.
Yes, I was just like, bitch, no.
No, that's how I felt against another redacted person. It's just like you get the I guess it's an anime trope of having the 2 characters, and then of course you have the third one with them and whatnot. But I actually loved Redacted's powers, and I loved, well, not powers, but her curse technique. And I probably already somewhat gave it away because I said her, but still.
First of all, we have not confirmed what happened with her. So I have holding up hope that she's gonna come back and be a badass like Maki.
Yeah. Oh yes, and Maki. Yes, salute to Maki because she wrecked everybody's shit, and that did my heart some good.
She basically Itachi'd everybody, and I'm here for it.
Yes. After all the stuff that all the characters went through, and then she came out and got her heavenly restriction, I'm like,
the second coming of Toji. Love to see it because y'all finna stop playing with Maki like she ain't shit. This is my girl.
Just to give an update, of course, I'm just catching up to 86. For those who actually watch that, that is something that Mike Check Waifu always recommends, and I loved the first season. It's very triggering for those of you who are of the melanin persuasion, so just be mindful when you watch this. There will be some triggers in there that might make you a little upset, but that being said, been catching up to that. I finished Digimon Adventure 2020. That was my comfort anime of the year. And now I've decided to try and peep Digimon Ghost Game for some strange reason. It's okay. It's falling into the same Digimon tropes as always, but I'm just like, yeah, but see, I'm gonna give it another episode. Unlike and shout out to Tail, he's one of the watchers, of course. For those who don't know, the watchers are, of course, Panda, Tail from Mike Check, Waifu, or King Teliano. You can follow him, and of course, our favorite Scuba Steve from the It Mob or Inside the Mind of Blurred. But yeah, he felt a way about the first episode, and he did not like it. I kind of was okay with the first episode. The second one, I was like. I'm not really. I'm just gonna say the main Digimon. I don't have really any I don't have any feelings towards him. It feels like he's falling into the same path that we know Agumon to fall in. For those who remember Digimon, and it's just like, can we please stop making these childish Digimon who all they do is eat, sleep, and eat some more and ask questions? Like, can we get some more character with the main Digimon? But we didn't get that, so I'm just like, okay, here we go. But it's an interesting concept.
Oh, my bad.
No, you good. Go ahead.
My favorite Digimon season was Frontier. I enjoyed Frontier. That's when they transformed into Digimon.
Yes.
That was one of my favorites. I do respect the original, but Frontier would always be like have a special place in my heart. I'm trying to think of any main character Digimon who didn't have that trope. Like, I don't think Agumon was too bad. Agumon still has some, like, a little bit of sense. Sometimes often he had it more than Kai. Not Kai.
No, Tai.
Kai. Why I say Kai? Tai. I'm trying to think.
But yeah. You're thinking of because I just watched the anime, so I'm calling him by his actual name, Taichi, because if I say Tai, I'm gonna think of other characters too. So yeah, but with Taichi and Agumon, like Agumon did have some sense to him, as you said, in the original Adventure and Adventure 02. And even in 2020, he had a little sense, but of course he just would, I think this character has, he shares a same personality trait to, what is that? Guilmon from Tamers. And it's just like, I don't want to see this again. Come on, y'all. Like, can we get like a different character? But that being said, I love Tamers is by far my favorite season. With Frontier is probably like tied for second with Adventure, just because I do like the concepts of Frontier. Tamers was just dark, and I absolutely
Tamers did get very dark when like I forgot what was the name of that thing that took over the entire like city, and
the D Reaper,
and it was Jerry at the middle of it and everything. That like really twisted, but I really enjoyed it. Like, it was just a lot of, and then you have characters who had their redemption and stuff.
Yep.
What is it, Devimon or somebody? I forgot.
Well, Devimon was from the original Adventure, but
Impmon, that's who it was.
Yes.
Like, he was like, because remember Jerry had Leomon, and Leomon got killed, and then Impmon turned out to be like, you know, an ally. He ended up being an ally rather than like a villain and stuff. So I do like Tamers too. Tamers was a good season as well.
Oh, that reminds me, for those of you who love Leomon, he did not get killed in Adventure 2020. That man survived. For all the other seasons where he caught the L in the original Adventure and when he caught the L in Tamers, this man lived, and I am happy. I'm like, my boy survived. Okay, we're good. So yeah. But yeah, I definitely loved Tamers just because of, as you said, the redemption of Impmon. You get to see different sides of characters and their character development, as well as the connection with their partners. The Adventure 2020 focused more on the Digimon than it did the actual humans, with the exception of Tai, because Tai was literally the main character and he was like all over the place. I don't think there's really an episode missing of Tai. Like, he is literally there like 24/7. So that's really one of the main complaints I have about Adventure 2020, but that's neither here nor there. I'm almost finished with To Your Eternity, not to change subjects. For whatever reason, it's just been, I've been slow trying to finish this thing. It's like, I pick my days when I try to watch it, and it's just like, I don't want to drop it again. I'm gonna go ahead and just push and finish it out. I still love the intro. Still one of the best intros this year. But still, the anime itself, I just have to be in a certain mood to watch. But I'm gonna get that. I heard Jobless Reincarnation is coming back, and I can't wait for that. I'm trying to think of some other ones that, of course, watching the case study of Vanitas. For whatever reason, there we go. I'm also I'm gonna get started on Undead Unluck because I've been hearing great things about that manga. So,
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I just caught up to it before I got on here. It's definitely something I would recommend reading. Andy
cool.
is like Andy might be on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we
Also,
go.
Life Lessons with Uramichi on Nissan is something that I also watch. I think you watched. I'm not sure if you watched it or somebody else did that I told about, but Life Lessons with Uramichi on Nissan is fire because that's what I used to watch after I would finish To Your Eternity, just so I could cheer myself up. Because to be honest, To Your Eternity is not the happiest anime.
It's not.
It is very, very sad, but it's so good. So I do understand having to be in a certain mood when you watch it. But spoiler alert, if you pay attention to the opening, it basically tells you what's gonna happen. So you can emotionally prepare yourself for it. But Life Lessons with Uramichi on Nissan is so good and it's so realistic and just so it's I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of it or
I've heard you talk about it before. And it's actually on my list of things to watch. I fell behind this summer and with the summer anime and whatnot. I literally fell behind because my job was the hours were just crazy. And then band kept happening, and then my grandfather passed, and then trying to deal with everything with band and trying to balance my job and that. So it's been a hectic July to October. Now my schedule is gonna be cleared up a little more so I can get back into the swing of things just in time for spooky season. But yes, I have heard of Life Lessons with Uramichi.
This is one of my favorites actually. Like this because it used to come on every Monday. So before it like the season ended. So it's a hit. I love it. It's my type of humor. It's about this guy named Uramichi who works on this kids show called Together with My Mom. And basically it's like it basically shows you the behind the scenes of the actors and their adult lives and stuff. And Uramichi is kind of like mentally unstable because the job he has is so like crushing and just he has his adult like he's I think 31 or 32. He's still single and stuff. And you know, he's like kind of a washed up gymnast and stuff like that. So like adulthood is kind of just impacting his mental health and stuff. But like how it goes about it is just so funny, but it's just so honest because that's exactly how adulthood can be. Like work is tiring, life is tiring, adulting is tiring. It's just like, yeah.
I get you. No, trust me, I know.
It's so funny. I put Steve and Tail on it, GB, Rome. I want to say Black from also from It Mob. And I feel like I put a few other people on, or people I put on, I told them about it. So people have liked it. I know some people it's not their type of humor, which I get, but it's just first episode has had me dying. So it's just fun.
All right. Well, that is something that I will make sure that I check out. I'm definitely going to. I'm so far behind again on the 100 anime challenge, but again, I know that you guys said as long as you're, I don't want to say cleansing my palate, as long as you're getting different tastes and different styles of anime and also watching different genres and instead of, watching the same old, then, you've achieved the purpose of the challenge. But I definitely wanted to try to get to 100. I just don't. It ain't looking too hot for your boy over here, but
I mean, look, it's like up to everybody. Like, do what feels comfortable or what you feel. Like, don't feel like you have to push yourself to get to 100. It's like a no pressure challenge.
Cool.
So that's why we created it. So
cool. Oh, dang it! And now I just got an update. Just for sports purposes, yeah. Wait. Okay, cool. The Browns lost. Oh, good. That means antagonist. Yes, I get to go into antagonist today and talk a little shit to my boys Polo and Tail, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I didn't mean to interrupt, but all right, well, we definitely have our updated anime here. So the next topic that we're going to discuss, which is the main topic for today, is I'm gonna call it no role models, because there are. I know that everybody who are considered, I guess, everyday people who are not always in the limelight or in front of the camera, that there are those who actually look up to these celebrities and certain celebrities, but you really have to take it you really have to be careful which celebrity you follow up and which celebrity you look to, not only as just a role model, but just in general, because there are certain celebrities out there who their personalities are not the best. And some of the actions that they take are definitely not the best, but you just have to be cognizant of who you follow. And I think that's the important thing, is because, everybody has their influences. Everybody has artists that they enjoyed, or actors that they love watching on film, or even just listening to music. You have certain artists that, that appeal to you. Their art form appeals to you. That doesn't necessarily mean that their character befits of one that you should follow. I am going to start with the lesser of the five evils that we have that we're talking about today, and I'm going to start with the rapper Chica from Alabama. Now, I love Chica's music. I loved her the last album that she dropped. She's dope. I remember when she was coming up with dropping those freestyles on YouTube. Like, she is absolute fire. She really is a dope artist. The problem is just now this isn't part of this isn't her fault, because someone like Chica, if you know, Chica is very, very, I'm not gonna say self-conscious. She wants to disable, and I guess, make sure that she eliminates any fat phobia, especially when it comes to her. Like, she's been the target of bullying when it comes to things like that. People have talked about her weight, they've talked about her looks. There was one point throughout the year, I think she was planning on maybe retiring from rap just because she was just sick and tired of it all. It's her responses that have gotten questionable looks from me. Now, by all means, if somebody comes at you and you are the king and queen of clapbacks, by all means, do what it do. There's just a certain line that I don't think needs to be crossed when it comes to that. In her case, it's attacking people's children.
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to that, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. Like, yes, okay, I know that they're bullying. And that's not to say that that's, that you should just leave it alone or whatnot. Address these things as they go, because that can really affect the person. You don't know what a person goes through. But when you start attacking children, now I'm like, hold on, now you're doing too much. Like, this is a little bit too far. You had no reason to like post that baby's picture and say happy Halloween, and next to her picture is the picture of a skeleton. Like, these kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for that. They just here. Attack the person who had the kid, but don't attack the baby. That's just my opinion on it. And she has not. That's not the first time that she's done that. She's attacked people's kids before. So I'm just like, okay, there is a certain line that just has to be drawn when certain things. When you're being attacked a certain way, and you have by all means the right to defend yourself when it comes to verbal abuse. I'm just saying that don't put the kids in this.
I do agree. Like, for me personally, I try not to get too below the belt. I try not to talk about people's kids, because I know, I believe in karma. Like, if I talk about your kids, if I have kids, or like even if I don't have kids, someone else gonna be attacked or hurt because of something that I did or said.
Right.
At the same time, I do think people have to be careful, because what you post on the internet is can be used for ammo against you. Okay, if you like going and hitting below the belt, because like, I don't approve of what Chica did, but to be honest, this is Twitter, it's social media. People gonna attack you and say all types of rude, terrible shit to you, and you can't be surprised when somebody comes back to it. Does it make it right? No. But at the same time, you can't be just appalled that somebody would attack your kid when that's what people do on the internet. That's why I also think people should be careful when they post their children. Not to say that it's obviously just going to be used as a way to attack them, but you have to be careful, because people, when people put rip such and such in their bio or stuff like that, people see that shit and people don't be caring. They just gonna attack it, and like, they gonna stab at that part that's gonna hurt. So you have to be careful what you put on the internet and what you say to somebody. And if you can't be surprised when somebody come back at you tenfold and says something that's even worse than what you said, because people are like that. But I don't agree with attacking people's kids. I definitely don't, because that's really, I almost did to somebody, but I didn't, because I knew that wasn't right. So I think you definitely should just not do it. but I also think you should be careful what you say to other people. Even if you don't agree, even if I don't agree with something that somebody has said, I'm gonna come at you with logic and stuff. I'm not gonna call you out your name until you get disrespectful first. That's the difference. But even then, I'm gonna still keep a kind of not chivalry, but be cordial in the way I dismiss you and talk down to you and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not just gonna go straight to name call. If we disagree on something, people I fully disagree with, we found common ground in other subjects. Like, okay, I agree with you on this one. Why we disagree on this one? Like, that's how I do when I go back and forth with people on Twitter. But attacking kids is something I try not to do because children are innocent. Children should be left out of the conversation. Children also, you also got to be careful when posting your kids on the internet, though. People out here are weird.
And I think, I don't even want to call this an exception. The only time that I'm going to like maybe look the other way when it comes to attacking kids is if the person attacking you happens to be racist, like that Neanderthal that everybody got into.
I almost told him, you better hope your daughter don't grow up to look like you. But I think that was his son, from what I was told.
Yeah, well, Eric already took care of that part, so I'm just like, you know what? It's already been done. I'm gonna leave that one alone. But
he blocked me. I'm just like, why you mad? Because I'm cute and you ain't got shit for you going for yourself. It's okay, baby.
I'm just gonna call him the Cleveland Defender because he was really trying his best to, I don't know.
It's not even that deep because like even when somebody talk about Mississippi, I'm not gonna be gung ho and be like, like when people talk about, oh, Mississippi's so racist, I'm just like, first of all, if you think your state is like absolved of racism because it's not Mississippi, I hate to tell you that you're wrong, because you can still be called the N-word and be shot at by police in any kind of state if we being real. Let's not get on California. Let's not get on the North. Like, let's not talk about what, like, the fact that racism is a nationwide thing. Now, Mississippi may be known for being a bottom tier state, and it is. That's my home. This is not like it's my home, but like I'm full in a minute. But I'm not gonna be all gang over Mississippi. Now I'm gonna be gang over Tougaloo, because ain't nobody finna talk shit about Tougaloo but me and like the people who have been there. But like, I'm not finna defend Mississippi and just be attacking people and calling them at their name. Look, that motherfucker lucky I ain't. See, look. Look, I be real nice even when I'm arguing with people. But if I chose to become a little bit less of Mama Panda and Papa Panda's daughter, y'all see a whole different side of me. Oh, Jesus. I'm glad that I changed my life around.
Panda with the hammer, for real.
With a sledgehammer.
Okay, I love to see it. Love to hear it. That would be, in that case, like the only case that I would probably be like, okay, you those insults you kind of had coming because you decided to go not even below the belt. That's just pure wrong, and for whatever reason. Shout out to Tell for being able to handle himself well, in which I don't
Tell got in that ass.
Yeah, he
got in that ass. And he talked about his Tell's locks. I was like, did you just call him the N-word?
Right.
I love it when white people say like, well, not white people, but non-black people be commenting on black people's stuff, and somebody be like, did you just call him?
Yeah, exactly.
And people in the comments, black people in the comments like, I heard him call him a jigaboo, and just all these other slurs. I be chuckling because it be so funny. I'm just like, you just call him such and such, but it just be so funny to me.
Yeah. And Polo was with the shits too. He's just like, hey, look, don't make
drop your location. Drop your location. I'm just like, let's go. Beat his ass, Polo. Go.
Yeah. That's a real spot him, got him situation. Like, I'm ready for the shits. I'm ready. But anyway, back to the actual subject. We had talked about Chica and her situation. And the next one, this one, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Letitia Wright. Okay.
I'm really disappointed in this one.
Yeah, very, very. Now, those of you who know, first and foremost, Jesus is Lord. I love Jesus. I love God. I'm a man of God through and through. But sometimes people, when it comes to using their faith as a means to try and, I guess, for lack of a better term, they try to discredit science. And I've talked about this on a couple of episodes before too. That's what really bugs me, because this is like, God gave you this. Why are you acting as if it is not of his creation. Like, and it even says in a Bible verse about how he was showing one of his, I don't remember which one this is, and I'm pretty sure it's Peter, but I have to go back and read about how he showed Peter a vision, and Peter was just like, he saw pork because he was hungry. He's like, no, pork is unclean. And God was just like, anything that I made is not unclean. And to me, that relates to this situation. But with Letitia, she's been posting these anti-vax stories. And look, this one thing that if you just don't want to get the vaccination, or if you have an immunodeficiency to where you really can't get the vaccination, I understand. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and try to put down your personal reasons for not getting the vaccine,
Right.
unless you're believing in these anti-vax videos that keep being pushed and this propaganda that's being pushed. Then I'm going to look at you like you lost your damn mind. But, and that's the case with Letitia Wright in this case, with her and her anti-vax views that she's been sharing along on the set of Black Panther 2. It is just really disappointing because, granted, yes, we know that this is a fictional character, but the character that you play would not be anti-vax. If anything, she'd probably be the one to develop the vaccine for the situation that we have right now. That's neither here nor there. It's just, there are going to be people who are going to play people that are the complete opposite of them and express a different dynamic. But that is just really disappointing because I know a lot of people looked up to Letitia Wright. A lot, and a lot of kids looked up to Letitia Wright, and to see those kind of sentiments come from her is just beyond disappointing.
Here's the thing with me, like with the vaccine, like I got the vaccine, like I know someone who got the vaccine, but she can't get the second dose because like half of her body went numb. So for me, like the vaccine is really, if you want to get the vaccine, cool. If you don't, that's also cool. Just like, I just don't get the people who don't want to get the vaccine, but don't want to social distance, but don't want to wear a mask, but don't want to do this, don't want to take precautions. Like if you don't want to get the vaccine, but you're doing all this other stuff, like I can't fault you for that, because it's I don't know how to explain this. The vaccine is not for everyone.
It's not.
And I agree with the idea that it's not for everyone. I don't fully agree. Part of me doesn't fully agree with the idea of firing someone for not getting it, because I think of the people like my coworker who I was telling you about who couldn't get it because if half my body went numb after I got the first shot of vaccine, I'm not gonna get the second one. But if they make exceptions for people like that, then I can understand that. However, it's like, if you don't want to get the vaccine and you are anti-vax, cool. But it also costs $0.00 to just shut the fuck up and not go around telling people about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go around, like I'm gonna, do your research. And when I say do your research, I mean peer-reviewed articles that have done in the lab, and scientists and stuff have actually done the research, because that's what research is. Like if you out here reading BuzzFeed articles and shit, that's not a peer-reviewed article. You need to go to fucking the National Institute of Health or whatever article, wherever you find your articles, that works just fine. But that's neither here nor there. I just think sometimes you just gotta learn to shut the hell up. And I think people benefited if people just shut the hell up. Like I'm not gonna argue with someone who's anti-vax. Everybody basically has gotten their vaccinations when they're, especially like if you're my age or older and maybe a little younger, depends. If you had to go to college, you had to get vaccinated. If you had to go to daycare, you had to be vaccinated. More than likely, when you are born, you have to get a series of vaccinations over time. Like everyone in their life at some point has been vaccinated by something or somewhere. So that's just, I mean, if you anti-vax, that's your decision, that's your issue. But also, don't be out here spreading bullshit articles. Just say you just don't want the vaccine. I can respect that. You don't want the vaccine. But in Letitia Wright's situation, I'm disappointed, not because her being anti-vax, but you out here sharing shit that's not true, and you have a following of people that are looking at you. When people look at you, and especially they are fans of you, as we see with a lot of other artists and celebrities who have like big followings that are not very healthy, you have to be careful what you put out there, because you say she puts this stuff out here, someone who's a fan of hers doesn't want to get the vaccine. Then they contract COVID. And then they have one of those COVID cases that are very deadly, and they have to be on a respirator for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's just a major example. But like, first of all, and I said this, I don't remember who I said this to, I'd rather deal with the side effects of a vaccine than deal with the side effects of COVID, because you never know what side effects of COVID. Like those are things are developing and they change for each person. People have had complications with breathing after having COVID. People have had heart issues with dealing with COVID. People had different types of issues even after not having COVID. So like I'd rather not deal with that. I'd rather deal with the side effects of the vaccine, which for me weren't bad. I just felt a little fatigued, but that's it. And maybe I'll have side effects down the line. Who knows? Who really cares? That's just how I feel about it. So this disease has taken, like this virus has taken away too many people's lives to just act like it's the easiest thing to deal with over the vaccine. But that's just how I feel. I know not everyone's not agreeing with me. I don't really care if people agree with me. I don't really care if you want to get the vaccine or not, but at least social distance and stop going to fucking restaurants without a mask and acting like you're just out here being just condemned for not wearing a mask. Like bozo. Don't wear a mask. It's not that hard. It's really, they make masks that like show your mouth and have like filters and stuff, not just the ones we're used to seeing. But I'm gonna shut up because like I'm not a doctor and people grown.
You're absolutely right. And that's just my whole point. It's just like, look, it's one thing. Like if you anti-vax, okay, cool. You know, if it's not any of my business, but don't be disingenuous to other people and don't really lead them astray, because that could really hurt them in the long run, especially if they can contract this disease and it ends up, you know, causing them long-term effects, as you pointed out. Like that's something that I just want to make sure that, you know, the followers are here to understand. Just be cognizant that, you know, when you're in a position like Letitia, right, and you decide to go and share bullshit and misinformation and people follow that and then they themselves get caught up because of what you shared, that seriously is a terrible look. But by all practical means, goes back to my first point. You know, just be cognizant of who you are following, be cognizant of who you are choosing as your role model, because we still got 3 more artists to talk about. One in particular who I've just been really disappointed in, Onika Mirage Petty. And yes, I gave the government.
Oh, not the government.
Yeah. I have an issue, and I've had an issue for a long time with Onika. And, you know, it's one thing, you know, your taste in men, I can't make a judgment on that. But just seeing the men,
yes, the fuck we can.
Oh, well.
Like, here's the thing. And when I say this, let me put a conversation to say, there are a lot of Black men who are wrongfully convicted. I don't disagree with that. However, how the fuck ever, that does not absolve the men who actually are guilty.
Yeah.
Not every man, I think Huey said this in the Boondocks, not every Black man who gets locked up is Nelson Mandela. And that's accurate. So I might be bougie or stuck up or whatever. I can't be with a man who's on the sex offender list. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not going to adjust my life. Huh?
I said, no, rightfully so.
Like, I'm not going to adjust my life. First of all, I have to take, like, I have my family, especially my mom's side of the family, we're very close knit. We like to have get-togethers. We like to have family gatherings, especially for like holidays and stuff. Not to mention my cousins have kids. I can't bring you around them because you're on the fucking sex offender list. Like, I can't, what, in what world? And if guess what? My mom does research. Like, if she Googles you and she sees you're on the list, like, no, like, I can't do that. I can't do that to myself. I can't do that to my family. Like you got to go. You got to get the fuck on, because I don't know. Maybe my standards are too high. I hope that's not a high standard for anybody, but you know.
Nah, I feel you on that. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm definitely not dating any woman that is on the sex offender list, like, because as you said, you have to bring, you know, my cousins have kids. My brother doesn't have any yet, but my sister has a kid. And it's just like, no, I can't bring that kind of person around, you know, because you're on the sex offender list. And what's crazy is that this is not the only man in Nicki Minaj's personal life that has had these problems. Of course, we all know the story of her brother, who you know is accused of being a pedophile. I'm not sure. I haven't checked on his case yet. I don't know if he's been indicted. or convicted, but yeah, he's accused of being a pedophile, and that really makes me question the company that you keep in general. It was one thing, it was bad enough, of course, when we knew that Nicki was dating Safari and Meek. We all know those kind of what their personalities are in real life, and just the kind of people that they
to be
are.
honest, Safari is even more disappointing than like I originally realized. Like I just thought he was
Mhm.
annoying, but this situation with him and Erica Mena, it
Yeah.
makes me even more disappointed in him as a person. Like I was never a fan of Safari, but like I was just like this man just be talking about his meat and just be annoying on Love and Hip Hop, but he's like not really all that like kind of harmless. And in this situation, I'm just like, oh no, you garbage for real.
Nah, points are being made about him. And it's just a situation with her husband, who shall remain nameless on this pod. It
Shut up,
just,
McGee.
yeah. His, just the whole story and the whole way that they went about this situation just rubs me the absolute wrong way. And you know what? I kind of don't care if the Barbs come after me for this shit, but I don't. I've liked Nicki Minaj's raps. I've always touted her as one of the, if not the greatest rapper as a woman. Like I do not take away her accolades. She is, when it comes to this rapping shit, like she is up there.
Mm-hmm.
But her personal life, I'm really just I have to take into question, because now you are making decisions that really make me scratch my head and be like, you know what? I don't think I ever want to be associated with you, even if I were to ever become famous. And if someone told me, hey, you have a chance to talk with Nicki Minaj, I probably would be like, no, thank you. Not to take anything away from her accolades or what she's done for the industry, but just the decisions that she's made and the decisions that her husband has made in conjunction with that just has really, really just rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't want to associate myself with that. When we talk about the case in general, of how he assaulted this woman when they were teens, and at this point he failed to register as a sex offender when they moved to California, got arrested, got off on bail, got actually indicted for it, and then got off on a larger bail. And he first pled not guilty, and now is pleading guilty, and the sentencing is supposed to be in January. So I guess he got off on some kind of plea deal. But it's crazy that the lengths and the hoops that Nicki went through to try and get this recanted by literally trying to bribe his victim. And this is the problem with why a lot of women don't come out publicly when they've been sexually assaulted.
Right.
And seeing that, it's like, yo, really? You try to get her to recant, you tried to bribe her with money and all of this, and she's just like, no. She even she sued or countersued in this case, because you guys are sitting here trying to bribe her. And all the Barbs who are trying to like put the pieces together about this story and whatnot and try to make her out to be a liar. Like, this goes back to why women don't come out when they've been assaulted, because now you're trying to discredit a woman. And when I saw her televised interview on The Real, or was it The View? I can't remember which one, but when I actually saw that interview, I'm like, yo, this does not sound or look like a person who is making this up. Like, she looks traumatized to this day.
From what I remember reading that originally Nicki Minaj said it was a white woman accusing him, and that was a lie. She's actually a black woman.
Yes.
Also, like, she didn't want this story to get this big. She just really just wanted him to just, be punished for what he did, but she never wanted this attention. She didn't want to go on TV and talk about this. And I saw the video. I think you're talking about the same video where she had told, like, they tried to bribe her and then they threatened her after she refused the bribe and stuff like that. And like, and the thing is, as someone, this is how I think in a mind, if I were like famous, I have to think about what I do, not only for people who are looking at me, but for, in this case, you might have people who have experienced sexual assault, whether it's as an adult or as a child or both. So, like, why would you be okay with letting this person, this man, marrying this man, having a child with him, and doing all these things against someone who has experienced sexual assault? Because I'm pretty sure she has some people who are like fans of hers who have experienced a similar situation as far as like sexual assault and stuff like that. Like, you have to think about these things, like, and maybe I'm being too specific, but that's like, if I were a fan of hers And I experienced the same thing. I just have to draw back because it would be triggering for me, and I'd be sorely disappointed if someone that I would look up to or whatever is doing these things. Because there's no fame, there's no glory in going to court over like being sexually assaulted or trigger one raped in this case. There is no glory in telling people that. There is no glory in going to police. Like you get going through your like a case makes you relive that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, oh, well, she can make money or get famous. Like there's none of that. Like, because at the end of the day, you still have to live with that trauma for the rest of your life. And even if you get therapy, even if you get coping skills, that stuff comes up. Like, because one day you're feeling great, and this is how trauma works in general. One day you're okay, you're good, and the next minute you're reliving that and having nightmares about it, having a panic attack because of it, or whatever have you. However that trauma impacts you, because trauma impacts people in different ways. So like, there's no glory in like falsely accusing someone. There really isn't. That's not fun to be told like, to be asked what you were wearing, or you probably made him do this, or you did this, or like being blamed for what happened to you, or being threatened, especially in this case with Nicki Minaj is a big celebrity, basically having death threats. I'm pretty sure she's received a lot of death threats for people who are Nicki Minaj's fans. Like, I have my artists that I like. I ain't finna threaten death on nobody because of them.
Nope.
I refuse. And so that's really just disappointing. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate because I appreciated Nicki Minaj what she brought as a female artist, but I can't vibe with this shit. I can't.
And neither can I. And as you said, like, look, I ain't about to go to war for any artist, especially if I know that they've been doing wrong. Like them artists don't know me from a can of paint. They don't pay my bills. They don't, help me out when I'm in a pickle. None of that. Like, I'm not about to sit here and try to make death threats on behalf of somebody who doesn't even know me from the next person over. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me from that perspective of the bars, because that is truly, we talk about toxic fan bases all the time, or toxic fandom all the time, especially in the anime community. When it comes to the barbs for Nicki Minaj, that is beyond toxic. Like, sometimes, like, I don't even want to go near that side of Twitter when she starts trending. I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna stay away, because they're gonna say something that's really gonna irk my nerves. It just doesn't make it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, they will defend her in any way, no matter what. They have this attitude that their artists can do no wrong. And I wish that people would get out of that kind of thinking that, these people are not gods, or they're not God. They literally are people. And y'all are sitting here putting them up on such a pedestal as if, and you worship the ground that they walk on. And I just can't get that kind of, celebrity worship. And this is coming from someone who loves Kendrick Lamar. Like, that is my favorite rap artist right now. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to stand for the man. Like, if he makes questionable decisions or says some questionable things.
That's how I feel. Like,
yeah.
I would always say, like, I enjoy Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, but I'm not standing 10 toes down for nobody. Like, I'm not doing that for anyone in my own life. They out here doing BS, because at the end of the day, people are like faulty. Like, not faulty, but they make terrible decisions or mistakes, and those aren't two things, because mistakes aren't decisions. You make those decisions, you made choices. Putting someone through a traumatic experience and stuff, and you know what you're doing, that's a decision. That's not a mistake.
Exactly.
So I can't stand 10 toes down on people making these types of decisions that lead to people being traumatized or people experiencing some type of hate or whatever. Like, I can't do it. If you check those marks off my list of people that I can't fuck with because of that, like, if you out here all just doing foolishness, and I don't mean the good kind of funny foolishness, I mean that foolishness that gonna make me look at you sideways, like, nah, I gotta delete your music from my phone. I can't do it. I really can't.
Yeah. Which I guess, will bring me to the next artist that we have to talk about. And now these are two artists that have, of course, made headlines recently for different things. One being Boosie Badass. Now, this is a little old, I guess, but I just wanted to at least talk about his situation and why it is important that we protect those who are in the like LGBT community, especially because I have two cousins who are gay, at least on my dad's side, and like I will go to war with them. I will go to bat for them, just because you have, in my opinion, you have the right to choose. Well, not choose because it's not a choice, but you have the right to love whoever you love and be who you are. That and I stand on that. So when I see Boosie, of course, attacking Lil Nas X and wondering why he's doing all of these things and why he's so flamboyant and showing his art, it really makes me scratch my head again, because I'm just like, bro, why do you even care?
And also, like, didn't you make a song called like Two Red Bones Kissing in the Backseat? Like, you wrote the song, but of course, it's gayness is only approved if it's two women and it can be sexualized by men. But that's neither here nor there. That gets into a different topic, because like my issue with Boosie is just like because I think it was Mike Tyson who checked him on that shit.
Yep.
When his comments about Zaya Wade, and he said, even if I agree with you that this shouldn't be something that kids decide early, who the fuck am I to make a decision, like, to comment on that? And I agree, like, who the fuck are you? Because first of all, you out here hiring strippers for your son who is
exactly.
So let's not get started on what's appropriate for kids and what's not, because at the end of the day, Dwayne and Gabby are both like, I'm pretty sure they're talking to Zaya and asking her and, confirming and not verifying, but validating what she feels is right for her and everything like that. And on top of that, like, and this is like happened like a while ago when he made like a comment saying like, I don't want him to cut his dick off, like something to cut her dick off or anything like that. But the thing is, not all trans people want surgery. Like, not all trans people want surgery. I think that's a common misconception that all people, like people who are trans, automatically want gender reassignment surgery. That's not always the case. Some people do not. And that's also a completely different debate that, I'm not going to get into because I'm not trans. I'm very cisgendered. But that's what I was been told, a debate within the community itself. So I'm not going to get into that. But like, while I understand like surgery for children, that's a different topic. However, that's not my decision because that's not my child.
Exactly.
That is not my child. Also, and I speak as someone who I consider myself an ally, but of course, that's something that's a continuous process. I'm always learning and trying to be a better ally. Also, as a counselor, I'm going to run into clients, especially now that I work with kids. I'm going to work with like kids as a counselor who are part of the LGBTQ plus community. I cannot afford to have these biases, and I feel like I don't. I feel like I'm just doing a lot of unwiring and rewiring so I could be a more multicultural counselor. But I can't afford, if I'm meaning to do well by my craft as a counselor, I can't afford to have these thoughts and ideas of people who are trans. And trust me, like, kids are very much aware of their bodies and what they want and don't want. They may not be able to articulate it like adults can, and some adults barely can. But kids are not as stupid as people want to make it believe. Kids pick up on a lot of things. They notice a lot of things, both about themselves and about people outside of themselves. Parents, family members, friends, and stuff. So kids are not stupid. I want people to get this idea out of their heads that kids don't need to know about this. Kids don't understand this. Kids will understand it. Like, if you explain it and tell them, then they'll say, oh, okay, then I understand. They're not stupid. They're not as stupid as people want to make it believe. And I think that I talked to this dude about, I don't remember what the topic was. It was about kids who are gay. Like, how can kids make that decision? Well, y'all be trying to pair y'all's children up with other kids when it comes to hetero relationships, but all of a sudden kids don't need to learn about sex and stuff when it comes to people being gay. That doesn't make any sense, because sexuality and sex are two different fucking things.
Yep.
You have sex in the form of biological, like your biological sex. Then you have sex in the form of intercourse. Then you have sexuality, which is your preference as far as what you want or what gender or gender identity you prefer in a partner. So people who, and I was telling you, if you lack the means to fully explain this properly, then just say that shit. It's not as hard as you're making it out to be. If you tell your children, some people are born and they like some people are born, they like the same gender, they like the opposite gender. It just depends, or they like both, because we have to be inclusive of people who are bisexual and pansexual and stuff. Some people who are born with girls or boys, they may not identify as that. Kids, as long as you make the language in a way that kids can understand, it's not hard. Because I've had kids, when I worked back in the inpatient unit, I've had like trans kids come into the unit. They understand the idea of gender identity. It may be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes because they're trying, especially when you're in the South, it may be uncomfortable to be living that truth, but they aren't stupid. Kids are not dumb. Kids understand things. They notice things. They pick up on things. And I hate when people make it seem like kids don't need to hear about sexuality and stuff. They're going to hear about it regardless, because when they grow up, they're going to run into different people from different walks of life. And it's up to you as a parent to either teach them so they can know how to treat people right, or try to censor them so they will be unprepared and sound dumb as fuck when they become adults and interact with these people. It's not that hard. People are making it more difficult. It's really not rocket science. I think it's because people have this idea that kids don't need autonomy when it comes to certain situations. Kids are very autonomous beings, even if they aren't able to vote or do any of these other things that adults can do yet. Kids deserve their autonomy. Yep. Kids deserve their freedom to make their decisions. And if you want to be an adequate parent, and this is speaking to someone who doesn't have kids, I use my parents for an example. They gave me the freedom to choose my career, to do what I want to do. They've always been supportive. My mom has been supportive in who I want to choose as a partner, because I've talked to her about, she said, whoever you love, that's who you love. And don't let anyone stop you, whether that's a man or a woman. And I'm heterosexual, so she knows that. So they've never put their specific standards, gender-wise at least, on who I can be with as a partner. And I feel like if you talk to your kids and have a conversation with them instead of acting like they're invalids, then maybe you'll have a more flourishing relationship. And that's the problem with a lot of parents. And I hate to put it like this, there's a problem with a lot of Black parents. Y'all think giving your kids autonomy means you're spoiling them. No, you're making them into better adults, and you're facilitating a positive relationship with them, so they don't feel like talking to you is just like talking to a brick wall and they feel suffocated. I went off on a soapbox tangent here. I'm sorry, but that's just
nah. By all means, you know what? You pretty much covered every point that we were going to talk about regarding this situation. So, the important thing is that it really and truly, it just comes down to minding your business. At least in Boosie's case, this is like, bro, These ain't your kid. That's not your kid. Lil Nas X has nothing to do with you. Just mind the business that pays you and focus on your family and whatnot. And we have some questions about that too. But still, just I like to always say stay out of Black folks' business, but Boosie's Black, so it's just like stick to your family, stick to your own business, man. Like, don't worry about what the next child or what the next parent is doing or what the next person is doing. Like, grow your family the way that you're supposed to, or the way that you think you're supposed to, and just go about your day. It's as simple as that, man. Like, and this is one of the reasons why I'm just a proponent of, like, let's let people be who they are and let people live the way that they want, man. Just,
as long as I agree, like, as long as you aren't absolutely hurting anyone,
exactly,
you're fine. And plus, being trans or being LGBTQ plus isn't hurting anybody.
It's really not.
It really isn't.
It's not causing me distress at night. I'm not, having dreams about, I must stop the LGBTQ agenda. And I'm not doing that. Like, I don't have thoughts about this. Like, this is coming from a cisgendered heterosexual male. Like, I'm not worried about them. They, you know what? If that's the way that they want to love, if that's how they feel, that is how they feel. That is how God intended. Let them do it. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, if they want to get married, if they want to suffer through the same, I don't want to come off on marriage or anything, because again, I'm not married yet.
Marriage is very flawed. Like, the institution of marriage is very flawed. It's not because just for people, like, it's not because of its people who are homosexual wanting to get married. It's just the institution of marriage in general is just problematic. But like, I feel like everybody should be afforded those rights, regardless of who they are.
Exactly.
Except for age. Age is my absolute limit. Like, that's different. Age is my absolute limit. But outside of that, I think it shouldn't matter. Like, and that's my issue with government and stuff. There's always this statement of separation of church and state. So when you argue against gay marriage, your argument shouldn't be, well, because God. No, we talking about separation of church and state. Your religion does not mean anything right here. So tell me why, realistically, without religion, why two people who are the same gender can't get married? Explain this to me. And if you can't form a correct argument without bringing in your religion, then maybe you shouldn't just be arguing against it at all. And this is not to go against religion. I have my issues with religion. I'm very much a believer in God. I also believe that God, my relationship with God is between me and him. So it's not my job to condemn anyone to hell or tell anyone, you're not gonna get brought to heaven or whatever. Because for all I know, with all the stuff I've done in my life, I'm probably not going to heaven. But that's a conversation between me and the man upstairs. Okay, whether you believe in him or don't, I understand why people don't fuck with religion. Religion is problematic. The people in it are problematic. It's just like what, in what world has God told you that you have every right and power to condemn people to hell when you yourself are not without sin and in general? Because that just be confusing me. But I don't know nothing. I don't read my book like I should, but I just pray and just hope for the best for me and for the people that I love.
Well, coming from someone who still identifies as a Christian, I will always say, look, this is my relationship between God. It's between me and God. It is not between me, God, and the next person. Like, I have to make sure that I have myself in order for me to make that next stage, because I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. I don't have no kind of power whatsoever. The only thing that I can do is just pray, maintain my faith, and make sure that I'm doing right by everybody as well as myself, and continue to, as you said, I've started reading my word again. I started picking it back up because I definitely have been slacking on my end. I made a promise to my granddad, and I'm gonna keep it. So
yeah.
When it comes to that situation, it's just like, look, I don't have no power to condemn anybody. I don't have no power to make decisions on anybody else's body but my own. That is another story that I'm not gonna get off on a tangent on, because Lord knows Texas. All right, let me stop. But that's just pretty much how I feel. It's like, man, look, people, we are not going to sit here and try to condemn people for who they love and whatnot. And we can't reasonably make an argument against why they decide if they wanted to get married and be miserable just like a regular heterosexual couple. Like, if they want to suffer those same miseries and suffer those same taxes, by all means, let them. That's just how I see it. That being said, that brings us to the final person who we have to kind of, it's kind of a recurring theme.
Kissy McGee.
Yeah. Today I finally, there was maybe 3 or 4 tracks that I held on to from said person. When a Woman's Fed Up, I Wish, and I think Fiesta were like the 3 tracks that I tried, like, that I just held on to, and I finally just deleted them off my playlist. I was like, it does not feel the same when I listen to him again. For those who don't know who I'm talking about Robert Kelly. And yeah, it is. I understand that the man is a genius. I understand that the man made incredible music, wrote incredible music. Apparently, there's a joke going around that he can't read, so I'm just gonna keep that in the drafts. But he's made incredible music. He's worked with artists. He's written for a lot of artists. But when you listen to, like, I guess when you see the situation that he's been embroiled in since the whole Aaliyah thing back in the 90s, and then you get the incidents that he's had over and over with minors, there comes a point where you have to really, really just separate the artist from the music and be like, you know what, I can't do it. And then even when you listen to some of his music, you just like, it don't feel the same, because now I'm hearing what you are doing to, and visualizing you doing these to minors, and it's just like, I don't want to have that thought in my head, because that is just completely disgusting and evil. So when dealing with that kind of situation, you just have to really make sure that, I guess, for me personally, I just can't listen to his music anymore because I really honestly can say that I can't. Like, there was certain songs that I was holding on to that I'd be like, all right, I'll be cool with this one. You know, he ain't talking about such and such. But just hearing the name R. Kelly really just now leaves such a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like, bro, this man, of all the things that he has been, you know, accused and indicted of, as far as, you know, the sexual minors, the racketeering, the kidnapping, it doesn't blow my mind anymore at the time that it did, but now I'm just like, yo, I'm completely disgusted with this person. I don't know how, or, you know, I ever looked up to him when I was younger, but I guess because he made good music, you couldn't help but feel good whenever he dropped something like Step in the Name of Love, both versions, or Happy People, or Backyard Party, or any of the other feel good songs that he has had, or even any of the sexual songs. You know, the man can make music, but there comes just a time and a place where you just have to be in the, you know, especially for those who are in our generation and younger, where you have to look in the mirror and just be like, does he really represent, and do I really want, like, what I'm looking for? Does he really going to be somebody that I look up to just because he made good music? No, at least not for me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I didn't love his music at first, because I did. You know, I goodness gracious, R. Kelly been dropping music since I came out the womb, before I came out the womb. And even then, it's just, there's a time and place where you just can't defend anybody anymore when they do such acts. And at that point, for me, it was a breakthrough. Like, hearing what the charges that he faced and him getting convicted, it was one of those things where I was like, I think it's just time for me to just let go, because I've been trying to hold on, just hoping for some sort of, I guess, light that he might have reached, or hoping that maybe he, you know, this is all, as the episode with the Boondocks is pointing out, that he might be in that kind of situation. But then I've realized that this is not the first time that R. Kelly's gotten in trouble for this. At least not the minor part. Now, the racketeering and the kidnapping, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that's like, okay, this is not the first time that R. Kelly's been in trouble. But now you're just like, okay, yeah, there's no reason for me to continue trying to hold on to this artist. And I know that there's going to be some people who disagree, and they're going to be like, no, I'm still going to listen to his music. That's fine. Do you? Just know that I'm probably going to judge you, but that's just me. You know, whatever floats your boat at that point. But for me personally, when it comes to me and my morals, I can't stand on it, and I can't, and I do not feel comfortable listening to his music anymore. So that's my soapbox.
One of my biggest issues with this is, first, when people say, well, what about Harvey Weinstein, blah, 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 or Elvis? They can go to hell too. What you mean? Because exactly. I hate the idea that because white people, and especially in this case, white men get away with it, black men should get away with it too. No, the issue isn't, hell no, you should be absolved because he's black and white men get absolved too. No, the issue is also men, regardless of race, color, creed, whatever the fuck have you, needs to be arrested and put in jail or executed or something to get punished for what they've done. Like, I need people to stop bringing up artists, because if Elvis was alive today, that man could go to jail. Every person who is, regardless of what music they've made, if they done something like this, or whatever it was once or multiple times, they could all go to jail, whether they're white or black. I don't care. Nobody cares. Like, stop bringing up these white men who have gotten, away with it, and think that black men shouldn't be. No. Y'all need to be punished for what the fuck y'all did. There is no y'all shouldn't be absolved, and y'all shouldn't want people like that to be absolved of something that they did, because it could just as easily be your child too. And I would hope, but with shitty parents in this situation, y'all may not give a fuck because y'all might think y'all trying and being fast. And that's another situation that brings me to the idea of little black girls being fast. If someone in your house is attracted to a child, the problem is not the child. The problem is the pedophile that's sitting at your dinner table. And I want people to understand that, like, there's no such thing as active fast. Like your child nobody should be attracted to your child that is an adult. Now, if it's another child, that's a different story, because kids will be kids. They're kids. That's supposed to happen. A 14-year-old being attracted to another 14-year-old is normal, but a 25-year-old being attracted to a 14-year-old is a fucking disgusting. It's terrible. That should not be happening in your household. Okay, like that. We have to break down the concept of little black girls being acting fast or whatever the hell, because that shit's bullshit anyway. Because if we kind of rewind back to the idea that black women are overly sexualized in general, like for example, you have black girls who wear the same exact outfit as a white woman, yet they're looked at as more sultry because they're more full figured, and that's not their fault. And then you have little black girls who are more developed than their white counterparts, or even some other black girls, and are seen as like, oh, you filling out and whatever, and be having these weird ass comments by these older men. Like that shit's disgusting. Like that shouldn't be. No one should be given the pass when it comes to that. It's fucking nasty. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, whether R. Kelly was a woman and the little girls and little boys still go to jail. Women, female pedophiles need to go to fucking jail too, because like it shouldn't be it shouldn't be that where black men's first time are from an older woman and they think that's something like something to be credited for, or that gives them some type of clout. That's not a good thing. She was a predator. You were preyed upon. And I know not a lot of black men wanted to admit that. Like, y'all aren't victims, y'all are survivors, first and foremost, because I don't like to use the phrase victim. Mm-hmm. But that's not something that should be normalized. That's disgusting too. Whether I have a son or a daughter, if I have kids, if anyone touches them in that manner, you're going to have to see me outside with the hammer and the pistol. Like, I don't give a fuck, because regardless of whether it's my child, my daughter getting touched, my son getting touched, you touch them, you getting your fingers cut off fucking with me and mine, because that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, that's disgusting. You shouldn't be taking the side of the abuser. You shouldn't ask your child, well, what did you do to make them do that, or what were you wearing? Like, stop putting your child in a position where they can't depend on you because you're their parent. You're supposed to be their protector from all sorts of danger. And that's when I hear cases of men, finding their daughter's child's rapist or person who sexually assaults them and beating the dog shit out of them or shooting them. I'm like, free this man, because that's your child. Mm-hmm. That's the response you should be that's what you should be responding with. Not, well, maybe this, that, and the third, and maybe or trying to deny it, act like it didn't happen. Because you don't deserve to be a parent at this point. If you as a parent feel like when your child tells you they've been sexually assaulted, your first response is to just ignore or act like it didn't happen, or to treat them as less than, or to like fuss at them for some shit when that's not their fault, then you don't deserve to be a parent at all. I'm not saying your child is always going to be right, but in cases like this, your child shouldn't be afraid to tell you, or afraid to just be afraid that you're going to just not talk to them or abandon them or treat them as less than because something that happened to them. Every one person who's been sexually assaulted, it's not your fault that happened to you. Whether it happened to you as a child, an adult, both, it's not your fault that happened to you. You have survived something traumatic, and I hope you find a way to not get rid of it, because you can't erase trauma, but to live with it in a way that you can find happiness. To anyone who has listened to this, who has been a survivor of sexual assault or sexual trauma, it's not your fault that happened to you. And if you never had that support, I'm sorry if you never had support, but I hope you continue to find it. And even if I don't know you, you have my support, because that's not something exciting or happy to live with.
Absolutely. Just to comment on what you were saying, like, as far as my child or any of my baby cousins, if I find that person, like, oh, there's no conversation to be had. You going on a t-shirt at that point. And that is what it is. Like, I'm serious about mine. Like, I'm trying not to like show a violent side, but like, no, but for real, when it comes to that kind of trauma, like if something were to happen like that to my child, or they're put in that position, and I'm seriously, my heads are going to roll, and I mean that literally. Like, yo, I'm putting your head on a pike at that point. You will never do that to my kids ever again if it comes to that. And I'm hoping that, nothing like that will happen to my future kids or any of my baby cousins or anything like that. Or even to people that I know who have children. Like, I am hoping and praying that you have, the best success in life. And I'm hoping that you do not have that kind of trauma, because that is something that is serious. And it is just something that is just when I think about things like that, it's just for me that it's just beyond evil. Like it is what it is. So as you said, to those who have suffered from sexual assault, or you've been assaulted even as a minor or as an adult, like you are definitely, we are definitely praying for your success. We are definitely hoping that, regardless of if you can heal from the trauma or not, we definitely want to be sure that you're able to live with it in a way that it no longer affects your way of living, and that we're hoping that you continue to find success in life. And these conversations are, very serious, because, when we look to role models in our lives, when we look to these certain artists, when we look to certain people that we see throughout our social media or throughout TV, we have to make sure that we are cognizant of the kind of people that they are and what they represent. And when you see that, we have to also think about how that not can only affect us, but those our loved ones around us. We want to make sure that we are sticking with positive energy, positive vibes, and positive influences. We have to be able to streamline like that. I'm not saying that you have to be like restrictive and be like, oh, you can do this and not do that and yada yada. You as a parent or whatever, that is on you. I'm not telling anybody how to be a parent. I'm not telling anybody how to live their life. I just want to make sure that we, have an understanding that on this pod we advocate, for everything positive and how to navigate chaotic energy. And when it comes to the five that we listed, well, at least the four, it's all about making sure that we know who our true role models are and who we look to, and what is going to work best for our lives and for the generation behind us lives. And when you see artists who are, who there are going to be artists out there who say, yeah, don't look to me as a role model, and you should really take their word for it, because they might be doing things that are not going to be substantial to your growth, i.e., you might have some rappers out here in the streets who are, doing shit they really shouldn't be doing, and they still, have a name out there and are still in headlines and things like that. You just have to be cognizant of, what you are putting in front of not only yourself, but in front of your children and in front of your friends and things like that. Just be aware of what's going to influence you in life, because granted, outside sources, I know some, depending on who you talk to, some people say outside sources can play a part in how you grow up. And sometimes that's the case, and sometimes it isn't. It really just depends on who you talk to, and it depends on, that person's upbringing. But I've seen it firsthand where some people will listen to a certain artist and they really take that as a part of their lifestyle and try to emulate that. And it's like, you don't want to live that kind of life that they live in, man. Like, trust me on that. And they got themselves caught up. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I've seen it firsthand where people have tried to emulate the lifestyle of not only Boozy, who's a really big artist in Charleston for some reason, I guess because of Creole and Gullah culture and how they kind of interject, or certain similarities between the two. But seeing how Boozy influenced the generation when I was growing up, and just seeing how other artists in general, if whether they were from Atlanta or whether they were from South Carolina, and they lived that lifestyle, and seeing how it affected some of my friends and even some of my peers, and then seeing them in a pine box not too long after that, or seeing maybe their life change around. We want to be sure that we open the doors for positivity and making sure that we are always surrounded by positive influences. So we just have to be extremely cognizant and careful who we are emulating in life and who we are giving our fandom to and who we are considering as major influences, because these are people and they don't live perfect lives, but there are some that go above and beyond the pale as far as their activity. And we just have to make sure that those kind of negative influences don't impact us.
Right. You said nothing but a word.
Yes, ma'am.
You got to be very careful, whether that's celebrities or even people in your own life. You just got to be careful who you emulate and who you don't try to be. I will say this: don't try to be like anyone except the best version of yourself.
Yep.
And whatever that looks like is different for everybody, but that's the only person that you need to look up to try to be like. I love my mom and I love my parents. I'm not trying to be exactly like them because they live different lives and have a different thought process from me. And that's my mom, especially my mom. That's my rock. But my mom and I are two different people. So I'm trying to be the best version of Panda for me, not for anyone else, but just for me. And that's the one I look up to, future me, where she got her life together and she living her lavish lifestyle of good anime and good ass food. So.
That's what the hell I'm talking about. I'm trying not to use the F-bomb again, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm looking forward to what Ked got later on down the road. And as you said, good food, good anime, in my case, good sports. But just making sure that I have a life that's going to be, comfortable for me and mine. And whenever that time may be, that it's meant for me to have a wife and meant for me to have kids, I hope that I can provide the best for them, but also continuing to live my life as God has seen fit, and making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing that's going to be best for Cad and not for anybody else. As you said, live the best version of you. And that's what I have to strive and aim for. And that's something that we talk about all the time on this podcast. So to my audience members, I'm hoping that you left with something today. We definitely got into some serious talks about this, these artists, but it needs to be had because this is a part of our culture, and we have to find ways to make sure that not only do we navigate the chaotic parts, but just find the positive in it and how we are going to make the best of ourselves. So this is what this is for. Granted, we're going to get into more music and more fun stuff and whatnot, but the main reason why I brought Panda on here is because I know that this is a very intelligent woman who can definitely give off the points that I needed to be made, and points were definitely made throughout this episode. So exactly why I chose her to be my co-host tonight. We are definitely going to do this again on a more fun tip, obviously, because today was pretty serious, but we definitely had some laughs in here. So I definitely appreciate Panda for coming through and being my co-host for today.
No problem. I'm happy to have been brought on here. But one last thing I do want to say is, for my people who have experience with sexual trauma or anything related to that, you don't have to forgive your abuser or the person who did that to you. As long as you're able to move on in a healthy manner, you do not have to forgive them. Forgiveness is subjective. Everybody has different views on forgiveness. But me personally, I don't think you have to. If you feel like you're forcing yourself to forgive someone for their benefit and not for yours, you don't have to do that. Like, as long as you're able to recognize your trauma and find ways to live with it without forgiveness, I think that works, because forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. So, and if you feel like you can't forgive them, go for it, but you don't have to. That's not something, like, I know a lot of people like to stress forgiveness like it's something that you have to do. You don't have to forgive anyone that treated you or did you wrong in that type of way, especially. And that's it. That's one thing I want to add.
No arguments for me on that point, but anyway, I think we've definitely covered a lot of what we wanted to get across as far as dealing with trauma, especially sexual assault, and especially dealing with victims of sexual assault, or survivors of sexual assault. Excuse me. Want to make sure that I'm using the correct term around Panda. But yeah, we definitely wanted to be sure that we left this gem out for you guys. So that way, when you listen to this episode, you'll understand our points of view, and hopefully you'll be able to take that into your daily lives. And I hope that it'll be a positive influence for you and your family, and that you are able to navigate this. And for those who are victims or survivors of sexual assault, rape, or even sexual harassment of any form, I'm hoping that we are able to provide a space here for you, regardless if you want to talk about it or not. That's not the point. The point is we want to make sure that we have offered a safe space for you, so that way you can come and still fellowship with us. And if you decide to come out against whoever might have assaulted you, then by all means you have the space to do so here. And I just want to make sure that you know that we are here to 100% support you no matter what. So on that note, Panda, go ahead and tell people how they can follow you, ma'am.
Okay, so follow me. Well, first, let me pub the pod page. Follow us at Worst Gen Pod, just WORSTGNPOD on Twitter. Worst Generation Podcast on Instagram as well. Follow me personally on my Twitter Panda to Don, Panda, PANDA_DADON to Don. Tune in to Worst Generation Podcast. We've been dropping new episodes. Tune in to Anime After Dark every Wednesday. Like he said, every Wednesday, 9:30 Central Standard Time on the Clubhouse app. When you participate, you don't have to come up on stage. Just come listen, enjoy, fellowship, pour out your drink, put the kids to bed type shit. Shout out to GB.
Promoted.
Use the hashtag. Also for the Watchers 100 Anime Challenge, thank you for those who have participated so far. For those of you who've never heard of it, it's on my Twitter. It's in my pinned tweet. Read the rules. I know we're in the 10th. We're almost at the end of the year, but it's never too late to join it. It's a no pressure challenge. If you want to enjoy it, cool. If you just want to watch some anime, but just explore anime outside of what you're used to. My thread of anime that I've been watching is also on Twitter. So if you want looking for some recommendations, you can ask me, you can ask Tail, you can ask Steve, you can ask anybody who's been participating in the challenge in general. I think that's about it. But you can follow me on there. Follow me on Instagram at stay.amplified. That's STAY.amplified, AMPLIPHIED. I said that right. Okay. But outside of that, I think that's about it. Thank you for having me. I love coming on here. But I had some beef with you because I remember them podcast rankings on Anime After Dark Clubhouse last week, and wondering why Worst Gen was in the first block though.
Hey, hold on a minute. I said this was in no particular order when I said that. So y'all want to sit here and say that I'm ranking y'all below Blandame. I enjoy the three of y'all on different bases, man. Don't try to hold a gun to my head for that, man. Y'all see
I've been as many times as I come on Chaotic Culture and shown love and just like what we second,
Okay, I'm gonna have to start saying Worst Gen first now, just so that way I can avoid any stray bullets that might come my way. All right. No, point proven. All right, I'll make sure that I'll make sure that y'all are first from now on, I suppose.
as it should be.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all see, she already holding a lighter to me like now. She's like, you better do this or else. Like,
yes, I don't know what you're talking about. I did no such thing. I just made an observation.
See, Panda already blackballing me, man. I'm gonna have to continue to.
I don't have enough clout to blackball anyone.
Okay. It's all good. It is all good. But I will keep that in mind. I don't want no kind of beef with Panda right now. If anything, it's funny. I'm trying to end the pod, but that being said, like I know Kai sent a message because I said Panda was gonna be one of my favorites. She's like, you better leave her alone. She's mine. I'm just like, Kai, wait a minute. Like, huh? Panda can't share? We can't share Panda? What's going on here?
Oh Lord. I thought I was just like, I'm not involved in this one.
Well, it is what it is. I'll let it alone. I'm like, all right, Kai can have you, I suppose. That's my quote from now on. It's like, I suppose I'm just going, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, as always, thank you for Panda for joining us. For everybody else, of course, shout out to Worst Generation Pod, especially for all 9 of y'all, including Panda, GB, Frankie, aka Warren, that's my colleague. Yo to the Noobs, of course. Shout out to Sensei LeGlove. Lettuce, aka Romaine, aka Master D. Definitely shout out to him. He be having me cracking me up on the low, so I usually don't shout him out, but I definitely have to make sure that I point him out because bro be having me in laughs. Shout out to One Piece League. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Weekly Poodle. Tatted Poodle Appreciation. My sister, my indie and MLITB. You already know what it is. Thank Poodle. You know I love you, all hearts. I'm trying to think.
Santoy. We don't hear a lot from Santoy, but Santoy and Lido.
Lido also new. So yeah. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Blandame Podcast, of course, Mike Unbothered and Sine. Sine been traveling all over the country as of late. So shout out to her living her best life. May she continue to have these blessings. And of course, to Michaela or Mike Jr., hope that she is terrorizing Mike as we speak. Shout out to It Mob, of course, to Scuba Steve and all the rest of the 8 of y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. And Skylar, who is the most wholesome member of that pod. And Mic check, waifu. I'm getting ready to join the antagonist section in just a few minutes here. Y'all can follow them, Polo Born Fly, King Teliano. You can follow them at Mic check, waifu. And then for me, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Be sure that you follow us on Facebook at Chaotic Culture Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod, and you can follow us on Twitter at Chaotic_Culture. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro on all social media. You can follow Nasa, my other co-host, at _call me Nasa on all social media, and you can follow my boy Law at Law96_ on Twitter and at L.JR_96 on Instagram. Be sure that, of course, if you subscribe to us, subscribe to Patreon. You can follow us on all 4 levels, no matter which one. I appreciate your support. You can also continuously subscribe to us on Anchor if you so choose. With that in mind, this will be episode 45 now, in total, of the total episodes that we've done of Chaotic Culture Podcast with season 3, episode 3. I think that's it as far as my rundown. If there's anybody else that you wanted to shout out, Panda.
I do want to say still shout out, of course. We actually shouted out everybody. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. As always, for my anime heads, please be sure that you tune in to Anime After Dark Clubhouse. You can check us out, of course, or check them out since they are the Black anime content creators. You can check them out every Wednesday at 9:30 Central Time or 10:30 if you're still on my side of the water. If you miss them, of course, just be sure that you subscribe on the Patreons of Worst Generation Pod and to Black Anime Podcast. That way, you guys can catch the missed episodes 2 days after they have premiered. Otherwise, you might have to wait maybe a couple weeks for the episode to drop off on all the other streaming platforms, but that's neither here nor there. With that in mind, once again, to Panda the Don, as always, thank you for coming in. This is the 3rd time that she's done this. She knows that I've got mad love for her. At this point, yeah, she has become a favorite of mine. So I always have to, when I know that I can depend on somebody, it's like, okay, yeah, I know that Panda gonna make me laugh one way or the other, and we can get into some serious discussions too. And this is why I consistently bring her here. So she is acting as my co-host for today. You will see her again, I hope, if she's okay with that.
This is my 3rd time, of course.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Jay, just got to ask for permission these days. I don't want to assume nothing. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for the Chaotic Culture Podcast. As always, be blessed, be safe. God is love. Deuces.
Sayonara.
Look, it's chaos in these streets. So let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Everybody needs some, yeah, and we don't need a reason. Everybody needs some, and we don't need a reason, cause we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh.